Meeting is called to order. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Roll call, please. Clerk Nolan. Mr. Conway.
Here.
Ms. Lee. Here. Mr. Strumka.
Here.
Danielle. Here. Eric.
Here.
April. Here. Nikki is here. Mindy. Here. Thank you. Agenda adjustments and approval. We do have one adjustment to the agenda, which is to add item G to the review and informational items, and that was school board member expectations. We had discussed at the special meeting to put that on this agenda and we missed it, so we did add that. Move to approve. Second. Any discussion? Okay, those in favor of approving the agenda with the adjustment, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, agenda is approved. Are there any announcements? Perfect. Community input. Board member report. Jeff. Oh. Nikki?
I have no reports other than health and safety meetings have been scheduled through spring for a total of 4. And I believe the emergency go bags are in the works, which means I don't know if that's going to be for classroom or if it's like per hallway or how they're going to do that. But in the event of an emergency, you have to have the backup.
Oh.
What? So like a bag that would have class lists in it and, you know, all of the particulars, this is where you go, the directions, etc. So that people can just pick them up and go if they have. Right.
Fire, any emergency that they have to evacuate.
So that way if the stuff is in the classroom, they have a bag they can grab and go.
And it is required. Yeah. It's required to have that. So.
Is Narcan in those? Do we have Narcan in the school room?
Yes, it's in the schools.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it for me.
Okay, Thursday?
No report.
Okay.
Nothing to report.
Just reporting on the finance meeting today. We did discuss the current levies and the levy for the HVAC building. We kind of broke it down. $350,000 house would be $54 a year, which equates to about $4.50 a month. A $500 commercial building, $152 a year at $12.60 a month, and $2 million homestead land, egg land would be about $84 on the homestead and $167 per year on the land, which is about $20.90 a month. We can split it anyway with the general funding that we had discussed previously. So if you wanted to do a fourth of that, and the rest would be like a levy, we could continue that the way we had discussed initially. And then we also have a general operating levy that falls off in 2025 when this levy, or when the actual, help me for 1 second, what starts in 2025?
So the HVAC would start, so the HVAC tax levy impact would start January of 2025. Correct. So that has nothing to do with this levy cycle at all.
So that one falls off.
Yep, the operating levy, the OPEB.
We do not
operating
know
levy falls off then.
how much that,
The
details of that, so Julie's working on getting that. So in February, she will have all of the information of all of our levies, when they started, when they end, and what the tax impact is. So we have until 1/25 to determine what we're gonna do, with all of this before it would be an impact to taxpayers.
Great job.
I do not have any.
I have a couple updates. I attended all 3 showings of the Finding Nemo Junior Middle School play this past weekend, and it was fantastic. Mrs. McGuire did a very nice job, and the kids were amazing. So bravo. There's quite a few staff that attended too. It was nice to see a lot of support there for the staff and students. Are we getting a student board rep?
But we've talked to a couple of people, I don't know
that anyone's committed to doing it.
committed yet.
Okay. Is there anything we can do to help get one? Because I do like to hear from a student if possible.
I mean, we can put it out again and see. I mean, it's a matter of the time piece. And it's always been a lot of our very involved students are involved in everything.
Right.
Is it usually like a student council member, or is there requirements
Typically,
for
they're a
it?
student council member. Yeah.
There may be.
Is there a student council leader that can be appointed, or is that here?
Yeah, I mean,
Does
we
that
can
get
work on
varied?
it.
Can offer a
Some of
stipend
them, they also have youth group on Wednesday
for their
nights.
time.
So I mean, that's the issue that we typically run into at this point.
How about an avocado coffee for your?
Do we offer a stipend for their time?
You can do whatever you'd like
I
to
mean,
do.
we get a stipend.
Mm-hmm.
How about try again if we can't get anyone and see if we could offer a stipend.
Throw a wall in it.
Or they could rotate, you know, if we could have one student council member here each meeting or something, so they could give an update from the student perspective. And then, we do plan to move these meetings back to the high school once the media center has been completed, which is supposed to be after the first of the year.
Sometime got early winter time, yeah.
So does anyone have concerns with staying here until the media center is completed?
As long as basketball practices don't
I
get too
know.
loud,
I
yeah,
know.
that'll be nice with
That'll be the
being
down.
there.
I'm
Okay.
excited to see the media center.
I know. Okay, that was it for me. On to administrative reports, high school first.
Good evening. Hope everyone's having a nice time so far. So the board report is coming up in just a moment. Forgot what I wrote about it. So we are about 2/3 of the way through our first semester. It seems a little odd to say. So that puts us 1/3 of the way through the school year, which is further than it feels sometimes. So things are going pretty well overall. You do have in that second paragraph some details about the what do I call it? Unexpected hire that we had. So short version, we had a piece of equipment down in our welding area that overheated. The safety switch on it didn't function completely properly and resulted in smoking and steaming that set off the alarm and had everybody evacuated. So students were out of the classroom for about 20 minutes. But went very well as far as everyone got out of the building safely. Students did exactly what they should have done. Staff did exactly what they should have done. We got a little bit to work on as far as our alarm system and pinpointing the location. So that's something that we're working on. But overall, everything went as well as it could have in the situation.
It's good to see a practice run on like that with the actual real location.
Yeah, and it, the equipment itself, we replaced the switch on it, the safety switch, and it was $100 to fix it. There was no damage to anything. There was no, no one injured or anything like that. So, yeah, but it's always interesting when you have something suddenly going off you didn't expect. So, yeah. We have, as far as our community outreach and getting input, parent advisory met. There was some great conversation. We actually far overshot the time that we expected because they wanted to keep talking and providing ideas, kind of going through that. So that was always nice to see. And then we continue our positive postcard nights. We turn out about 100 postcards a month that go out to students. I think that's some of the best time that we spend. I mean, honestly, when we talk about reaching out to kids, getting a personal message from a teacher, I mean, it's phenomenal. And it's funny because almost every week I get a phone call or an email or a message from someone saying, hey, my kid got this postcard and it meant a lot to them. So it's a phenomenal thing we started last year and we keep it going. So that's happening. We have Thanksgiving coming up, which for most of our students is obviously a very good thing. But one thing we talk a lot about with our staff as well is that for a portion of our population, that is a very scary time. And again, for winter break, whether it's food insecurity or home is not a safe place or whatever it is, that's part of why we're working on getting the food pantry set up, and that's progressing really, really well. We hope to have that up and running. We are doing, well, our public rollout of it's going to happen the week after Thanksgiving. We're running a food drive that first week in December, and then that second week in December we'll open up. So we're really excited about that. Beth and Cody Braun and Susan from the food shelf in Crescent and a few others have been huge parts in trying to get that going, getting that running. So we're really excited to have that kind of open up in our building.
That was going to be my question. Is the food shelf going to help supply it, or is it all just in-house food drives?
No, we have some pieces where, because of where they get their food and the requirements as far as like paperwork and documentation and things like that they can't be a direct like feeder to us. We have to be kind of our own separate entity.
Okay.
But we are working hand in hand on some things. Like they're open Wednesdays and Thursdays. So we're going to be open Tuesdays and Fridays. I mean, there's things like that we're being very careful to not step on toes, not to duplicate efforts. We have slightly different goals, in that our goal is we have students right there. Students are taking home what they need. We don't have to do paperwork. We don't have to have them sign up or meet any financial requirements. We don't have any of those loopholes or any of those hoops that we have to have them jump through. We just give them food, take it home. So it's a slightly different clientele base. We're also not saying, a elderly couple drive to the school and pick up food. That's not who we're serving. That's food.
So how will we make sure to keep it stocked?
We're going to do a lot of food drives, a lot of, we're looking at the one in December. We'll probably do another one right around Valentine's Day. We feel like that'd be kind of a good tie-in, a good theme. Community leadership will probably do another one, probably about April or so. We have no idea what kind of demand and what kind of, we have no idea what that will be like.
So we'll do like entries into sporting events.
We talked about that as well, that, bring a food item, get $1 off, kind of that type of stuff.
Do you have any writing classes that would be willing to like learn how to write grants or something that they could look for those in the state?
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I can talk about that.
Are we able to use Wafer or Channel One or any of those?
Those are the hoops that he was referring to.
Yeah, they require a financial statement.
Got it.
We're not going to ask, sixth grader.
Second Harvest does do it? I thought they didn't.
Most of them require something as far as documentation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What about like donations from Rotary or Lions or
That
local
we could take.
groups?
Yeah.
League?
And then,
Yeah.
Jacob, do you want to share with your talk with Terry about that?
That we're setting up an account, you're working on getting an account set up where someone wanted to give a financial donation. Then we could take that through our food service program, order whatever it is that we need. Whether it's, okay, we really need pasta, we're going to order that. Or we'd like to have, some of the kids that said, can I have some milk to take home? We can order, a crate of milk cartons or, that type of stuff. And then because it's ordered through our school food program, we can get the discount with that as well. We're kind of getting a little extra bang for our buck. Ordering it, stocking it in there, and then letting the kids take it. So there'd be a way that if there was a group or an individual that said, hey, I want to give $200 to the food pantry at the school. Okay, thank you. Buy whatever we need at that time.
Is it all shelf stable food, or are there items that are
Primarily shelf stable. We're looking at, things like the milk cartons. Like, can we have a few in there in the fridge that kids can take home? Whatever we don't, we take back to the lunchroom. That type of stuff. But
And you're not looking at like giving them a grocery bag. It's not like a food shelf run, right? It's like here's something to get you through the weekend kind of thing? Like,
Yeah.
am I
Yeah,
right?
we'd
They're
be
not
open-
supplying their family, they're just,
They could.
yeah, okay.
I mean, that's.
I just was curious what capacity, like fridges, freezers, are we looking at, like?
We've talked a little bit about getting like a chest freezer in there,
Mhm.
doing like some frozen meals or stuff like that.
Sure.
One thing that our student advisory actually brought up is that it would be really nice if there was like a microwave, like to-go containers. So like the kid comes in, they make their box of mac and cheese, they put in their to-go container, they can take it home. And that way they don't have to worry about, am I going to be able to cook this? Is the house going to be clean enough? What will other people think?
Asking where they got it.
Right. Yep. So that's something their student advisory brought up. That would actually be really nice.
Is the backpack program still going?
That's elementary, so I don't know a whole lot about that. But
What about, we've talked a few times about the lunch, extra lunch items that could get set to the side, and people, like
yeah,
share
and I don't
bin.
know if we
Shared
can.
table?
I don't know if we can put that as a part of the food shelf or not. I don't know what the requirement is there.
Well, like an apple, that they put an apple, and
Right.
then the apple put the food shelf.
Yeah.
And then,
I think so, but I don't want to say for sure. Yeah.
cause I just, that food.
Right. Absolutely.
I saw a post, I think a church posted it about items the students at the school needed, like, like health and beauty type toothpaste, stuff like that. Is that getting coordinated with you, and would that be part of like the food, like get it out of the food shelf area?
Yep. So our long-term plans for that area is to have food, any kind of toiletries, deodorant, stuff like that.
Okay.
We'd like to eventually turn it into like a mentor/tutoring center area, where a few nights a week we'd have people from the community come in and we'd sign up to work with, 1 or 2 students in a one-on-one or small group. Students brought up, is that something we could have, like, can we use clothing as well that kids could grab and take home, especially like sweatshirts, coats, blankets, things like that that are needed for winter. So, that's all in the long-term plan. Yeah. But right now we're focusing on the food, getting that going, getting that kind of habit established, and then expanding to those other things.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's something that we want to get running. Students are really excited, like they want to help and want to be a part of it and want to be involved. So that's been really fun to see. So I'm really excited to see kind of what happens with it and where it goes. So, but yeah, so December 12th will be our first day will be open. So, yeah, so I look forward to seeing and kind of sharing how that's going. So,
How many parents are on the parent advisory group?
there are 11, I think.
11?
Yeah. And then last item, just as far as the program highlight, just wanted to introduce you a little bit to Lancer Success. So that's a program that some of you know about, but that's the program that Ms. Hazel runs. There are, I believe, mid-30s, like 35, 36 students that are part of that program. And what it is, it's a Tier 2 support program. So these are students that we have identified as they struggle, whether they're failing one class, whether they're failing multiple classes, whatever it is, they need a little extra support, whether it's they need study skills, whether it's they need kind of small group tutoring and help, whatever it is, these are students who do not qualify for IEPs, because those students already have support in a very different way. But so then they go in and they are with Ms. Hazel for, instead of a study hall, they get the Lancer Success class. And it's a combination of, we're going to teach some study skills, we're going to teach some academic skills, like how do you take notes, how do you use a planner, some of those pieces that we kind of assume students know, but they don't. And trying to build some of those skills for future success. And then also the kind of one-on-one support. And then she checks their grades on a daily basis. Hey, you're missing this assignment in science. Where are you at with that? Okay, let's get it out. Let me help you with it. So she does a fantastic job with that program. Just wanted to highlight that and make sure you're aware of kind of some of the things that are there.
Do you have any other questions?
Thanks, Jacob.
Middle school update.
Yeah, just a couple things. We finished off October with the middle school Halloween dance and activity night. We had almost 200 kids that showed up. It was great, and without any incidents. So that was
One thing about that though, might want to let the kids know that they can't leave and come back.
yeah, we've let them know that like 5 times.
Because there was a couple of kids that were stuck outside,
Yeah, they were told multiple times. Trust me. Yes.
especially the younger kids like the 5th graders, because they're new to all that stuff.
Yep. But it was great, and we can only do things like that if we have the volunteers that we do. They're running the games and the concession stand and all that stuff. And Darcy, I don't know if you had a spare second.
It was a zoo.
Yeah, it was. The concession stand was busy, and we sent all the kids back home and loaded up with sugar, so that was good for their parents. But it was a good night, so that was a lot of fun and a positive experience to school outside of the school day, so that was great. Parent-teacher conferences, we're at 65% attendance, but it's actually a little bit higher than that because we had a number of teachers that scheduled conferences that just worked out with different parents' schedules, and so we had some on Mondays or Wednesdays too outside of those designated times so that they had additional conferences scheduled. So quite pleased with the attendance at our fall conferences. We plan on keeping the middle school parent-teacher conference format the same as we did this year moving forward. And then just some odds and ends in the rest of my report. So waiting on a quote coming back from G-Force Graphics to liven up the hallways a little bit. We've done painting and new lockers and stuff, but we need to make it a little more exciting walking down the hallway. So we're waiting on some quotes on that. So that's in progress. And just moving forward with our Lancer Way days. And it's all good stuff.
I appreciate that the book fair accepts credit cards because
Yes.
I have someone who loves books. And thanks for working at the book fair, staying out in their seat.
That was in my report.
Always the same parents working at things and always the same students that kind of a common trend. All right, any questions or comments for Josh?
Thank you, Josh.
All right, we are on to elementary.
Our monthly value is citizenship, which was apropos with celebrating Veterans Day last Friday. We welcome families and veterans as guests. We don't open it up to the entire community, it just would be difficult to manage, but it's a reverent and I think the kids did a great job. Their behavior was outstanding, and we welcomed the Legion to present the colors, and we had a very touching story shared by Mrs. Sebo, who organizes that whole event, and I believe her spouse is a veteran. So we've got a number of veteran connections in our building, and it was great to celebrate that. The PTO is always very supportive of the awards that we give out, and you'll see in the pictures below, that was a pretty cool school picture back when it was green outside. And the reward for the kids meeting their fundraising goal was they got to paint my hair green. And Eleanor's pretty. That sums it up. I mean, she doesn't ever smile, but she was just like, "What happened to you?" And so I just thought that was kind of a fun. So I wore a Vikings jersey, and I am not a Viking fan, but it is posted in my office as a consequence for the kids doing a great job reaching their goal. So
She may have a little PTSD.
yeah, well, I don't know. It's always confusing when Dad has a different color hair. This is really cool. It's tough to really get the spirit of what's going on, but you can see some big kids there. That's the 8th grade leadership class. Mr. Ryan in the background, along with his students, came to our kindergarten last month and read books and colored sheets with kids. They brought their favorite elementary book story, and they mentored our kids for an hour and a half, I think, and the time flew by. They had a little bit of outside recess time and just kind of sharing their favorite childhood story with our kids and showing them the importance of reading. And we're bringing them back next week, I think. First grade is going to do the same thing. They're going to go through each grade level, spend the morning, a little bit of recreation, and then definitely some connecting and doing schoolwork with them. So it's a neat thing that I think we're having with our buildings partnering. So good stuff happening there. Yeah.
Every 8th grader gets to go?
It's actually not. It's the whole 8th grade, not just a class. It's the entire grade level. Yeah, as part of their our focus on kind of some of the social emotional learning and advisory activities that we're doing as that connection. So relationship building.
Yeah, it was really great. The kindergarten teachers called me up and they're like, "You got to come see this," because all the kids were just really connected. It was just great. And this is a picture of our Veterans Day. So always a good tradition.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
Thank you.
I know the hair on Veterans Day, though. Usually aligns with Halloween, so it's perfect for dressing up.
Okay, on to community ed.
All right, well, we hosted our first ever open house on National Community Ed Day. There's some pictures below to show you. That was something that was pretty fun to do. We had our Driftless Drifters Hiking Club have a table there welcoming people. John Lamb did a free sweaty dance party in the atrium down here as well, which was joined by some of the 6th grade basketball players that were waiting for their practice, so it was pretty fun. We didn't have a huge turnout, but we ended up with a new hiking club member, 2 new travelers, and a brand new class instructor that's going to do a Alexa class for us in the future. So we're pretty excited about that. Monster Mash was another huge hit, over 300 participants, and we had more high school volunteers this year, which was fantastic. And we opened the wall up, and there's pictures below as well. It was a lot of fun. Thanks to our costume judges, Carl Eckern and Jackie Patel and Karen Schwartzoff. And great news, we finally hired a kids company coordinator who will begin after Thanksgiving. So very much looking forward to having her on board. And she and her fiance live here in town, and she comes to us with a lot of youth work background, so we're excited. Yeah, so you can scroll to the pictures, Britt.
So you didn't add that you all were so exhausted from cleaning out that closet.
Oh, yeah, there was the closet. Oh, boy. So, yeah, there was our event, people wandering around, and of course Bernie sets up such a lovely table. That was a sampling of all of our arts and crafts classes. We had a great slideshow going. He's one of our new travelers. And Monster Mash. So you can see that they're walking in at every grade or age level. We had the 1s and 2s and 3s, and then pre-K and K, 1, 2, and 3, and 4. They all walked around in their circle playing. Did the strut. But what's funny is in the top right corner is there was our upperclassmen, 3rd and 4th graders, that were cheering for the younger groups. And if you scroll down a little farther, Britt, there's our baby skunk who won the baby class. And there's Victoria Allen and Kyle Allen. There's baby skunk at the bottom. Was just kind of crawling around the floor in the middle, and all the kids were cheering, "Baby skunk, baby skunk." So, baby skunk, also known as Odin Dubiel, won. So, yeah. You can see Moana brought her dad, The Rock. Kudos to Phil Bartz. Anyway, but yeah, you can see how we had the activities set up, and it was great to have the high school help. So, yeah.
So one of the other school board members that I network with from the surrounding community had some great things to say about our community ed program. I just wanted to share with you.
Awesome.
Asked a lot of questions and just said that they observed that's one of the things that La Crescent does amazingly well. So.
Thank you. Yeah, great feedback to hear.
I don't know how you're going to follow that, Patrick, but buildings, grounds, and do you have any baby skunks? Okay. Buildings, grounds, and transportation.
So the first part is the Ever Alert clocks. We had 52 that we had ordered, and we installed them, I think 2 weeks ago was the final install. And we just had the Ever Alert guy, Chuck Olson, give the admin and clerical staff a little introduction on how to send messages and display like a text message instead of using like the intercom to interrupt a class. You can send a text message to these displays, and it's pretty neat. We're also probably going to be integrating some other things into them, but that's probably a little bit out yet, such as all the alarms and fire alarm, tornado drills, and stuff like that. Wireless locks. We're getting down to probably the last round next summer. We have just a few left. This last round, we still had some parts we're waiting on, so auditorium door and a couple other doors on the south end of the building didn't get the locks in because we're waiting on some parts, but those are coming yet. Just installed the new Raptor kiosk, replaced the old touch screen that always went into sleep mode and I always had to go out and wake it up for it to work, so we just replaced it with a kiosk like we got down here at the elementary. Scoreboard sponsorship signs have been ordered, and we're told they'll be up by the first girls basketball game, which I think is the first basketball game. Softball field stuff is getting accomplished. The posts are up. The apron, I think, was poured about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Concrete pad for the bleachers, probably by Friday. Permits have been applied for at the baseball field for their concrete pad and for the press box. We gotta have permits for the footings for the press box, and that's right now at the state. I was hoping to have an update today, but no go. And the elementary basketball court has been paved, as you probably noticed. Waiting for the basketball hoops to get installed before we can paint the lines. And that's all it is.
Will we get any of the wayfinding signs for the gyms and bathrooms up before basketball?
I forgot to put that on there. Yeah, they should be put up. I'm hoping.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mindy?
Yeah. So basically, really kind of just quick updates on a few things. Everything's going great with Apex still. I'm worked with the student advisory team on locker room upgrade plan and library upgrade plan. I also plan on getting together with the student council and a few other student groups, so we have kind of everyone represented there. Like I said, I'm hoping to get the library stuff project done this winter, so early winter. Softball fields upgrades, I just wanted to put this in there. We went out to the softball field today. Softball boosters, I joined them earlier this month, and we had a conversation about the idea of, are there projects we can put on hold so that we could actually get lights for the softball field? And so it looks, that's the direction we're going now. So we had a gentleman come in today to look at what it would be to install lights and where they would be, and so we should have some plans coming for that. He was hoping by the end of the week, but I'm not certain.
What other projects are being put on hold?
Like the bathroom that was going to go in there, some of the changing for the announcer's booth.
So all softball related.
Yeah, all softball related stuff, just moving the money from one spot.
We won't have a press box. We won't have a bathroom yet. Prioritize life.
Yeah. And so I feel very good about that one. That's going to be great. We're finally going to get that equity between the two programs. That will be very nice moving forward.
Long overdue.
Huh?
It's been long overdue.
30 years.
And so then I'm also looking at staffing information, just giving you guys an update. Even though we had identified to hire another custodian, we lost a custodian, so we're down one right now. We're down a couple of paras. I just was told, we just were talking today at the high school that there's a good chance, we lost a para today who turned in a resignation. We've got someone else going on a medical leave. So you're going to be seeing that we're trying to get more people in and trying to do a few different things. And it's been a real difficult couple of weeks for building leadership and admin assists because of everyone being sick. I mean, this is that time of year where I think the flu and everything else has hit super hard. And so we're just trying to keep on top of that. So I just wanted to make sure board knew that. So in case someone said, well, my child didn't this, or, you know that it's been a rash of illnesses lately. I'm just talking about the EverAlert clocks, elementary, middle, and high school still had that. And then, what else do I have on there? Just scroll down a little bit. Gymnastics, update on that. We did end up being able to use PEG. So we will have some girls on the team, so that's a win for now. I just want to be very transparent and proactive in telling the board, if we don't start getting more girls in that program, we are probably not going to be able to run it. It's just, we gave it one more year because they worked so hard. So that's, we're doing district-wide staff development team met on Monday. We went through a bunch of training opportunities that would be coming up for this school year. But one of the things that we're really focusing around, and we said it during the QComp piece earlier, that we are looking to base those goals around our strategic direction and our roadmap and those values. And so that is something that we're going to be doing with the entire staff too, is training them on how did we get to this point? What does the strategic roadmap look like? What does it mean? How are we going to do that? How are we going to track data and all of that? So just taking things full circle, we had some questions and concerns about middle school math and specifically the 7th grade class because they've had a couple of rocky years. And so what we did with that group is we had them take the CBM, so it's a fast track math test. Okay, and we use that at the elementary. We're going to be using that now in 7th grade too. And what that does is it breaks down and does an assessment. So the computer program will do an assessment of what skills kids are missing and then give suggestions for different activities and how we can go back and reteach that. Our MTSS coordinator, Sarah Payne, has been working with staff, and she sat down and met with some of the 7th grade teachers, and they're going over what are those discrete plans to really work on targeting some of those skills that we found are missing. We will probably be doing this with all of our groups, but this one we just focused on. So during winter testing, the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade will all do the fast track, and then we'll be able to look at that data. But because 7th grade was a concern, we really wanted to go into that first. And then Beth would probably know more about this, but we, as a district, we are doing a collaborative with the food shelf. We own the building, they lease it for us for $1, but the building is older and is in need of some repair. And so this is an infrastructure grant that would allow them to do things like getting a new heating system. I think roof was on the project list.
Yep. Heating, HVAC, and some lighting updates and replacements of the cement pad in the front area. Okay. So, yep, it's a grant that the state is offering. So even if you're just a renter in a place, so it's a really good opportunity.
Mm-hmm. So that to keep that partnership going, because like we've talked, we're trying to expand that into the schools, backpack program, but also give some support to that building there. I did ask Jacob, did you turn this in yet, or did you?
Oh, I sent that to Brittany.
Brittany, okay. Can you pop that up?
You want me to speak briefly?
Yeah, so okay. One last thing that I asked Jacob to do is just give a little update as to, because we had talked about attendance at the last board meeting, I wanted him to give a little update to show you what's happening and what the net change is, because this is really positive. And I don't know, Greener said it in the first meeting, or in the QComp meeting, that we've seen some real growth and improvement in our attendance. So do you want to speak to this a little bit, Jacob?
Yeah, so I ran the data from last school year, so whatever our first day was through November 13th, and then same thing for this school year. So you can see those are the first two columns. The way the Infinite Campus measures it is by class period. So it just tracks all the class periods. You have the different categories of absences there. And then you can see our change as we move to the right. So our non-medical excuse, so that's the out of town. These are basically things that aren't a doctor's visit or doctor's note. So I got a headache today, I overslept, or I'm sleeping in because I was out late. I'm out of town, things of that nature fit into that category. So you can see those are down over 21% from last year through this point in time to this year. Our medical ones, these would be your doctor's appointment, dentist appointments, therapy appointments, things like that. Those are also down a little bit. They're down about 10%. Suspensions are slightly up, but that's because it's such a small number that you get, one more drug offense, and that jumps that up a tremendous amount. School related, so those would be items such as field trips, or if we have testing going on or things of that nature, down slightly. Athletics is up just a little bit, and that's just a matter of the schedule where you flip flop who's home and who's away each year. So we just had more of our further away towns that were away this year, so our students had to get out early. But even there, there's 30 girls that are part of volleyball.
Yeah,
And,
maybe more kids.
One trip, that could be 60 of those absences. So, that's not something to be concerned about either. The one that I'm probably most excited about is our unexcused absences are down almost 20%. So kids just choosing to not show up. That's significantly down. And even one of the reasons that it's as high as it is situations where a kid is moving, such as, they're moving from here to somewhere in Wisconsin, and they don't start there until a week later. Well, they have a week of unexcused absences for us because they've moved, but they haven't started yet. We haven't got the paperwork yet. And, we had multiple of those situations that occur, or start of the year, someone moves and they don't tell us. So then they are unexcused from us until we actually get the documentation. So that's actually at least half of our unexcused absences are that type of situation. So overall, our attendance at the high school is improved by 16% so far this year, which is a tremendous number. As far as student days, that equates to roughly 223 student days, which that ties to money as well, because there's certain types of funding that we only get if students are actually present. So if we expand that out through the whole school year, that's the equivalent of about 8 to 10 more students being enrolled at the high school than what we had last year as far as funding goes. So, that's a huge boost as well. We're tracking that chronic absenteeism rate as well. Right now, that's at about 12.1%. So, which last year we were at 19.1%.
At this point, or the entire year?
At this point.
Yeah.
This is all current data as of November 13th.
Yep.
Or just high school.
Just high school. Yeah.
And I can speak with permission from a couple parents that received a nice letter from you, like basically highlighting if they're over a certain number of days unexcused or absent, here are the resources we'd like to work with you, let's bridge the gap. That was awesome. I wish I would have thought to ask you to bring that, or a copy of the cookied something, just so people could see that, because I think people forget about those resources, so.
Yeah, we understand things are going to happen.
Yeah.
We also understand there's times where students need help and parents don't quite know what to do. This might be your only kid or your oldest kid, or just a kid that is struggling with stuff that none of your others did. We deal with this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Let us help you. Yeah. But I was really happy. I kind of wanted to see, if the data was backing up kind of what we were noticing just anecdotally. And the data was vastly superior to what I expected. So that was really nice to see.
Is this going to be an ongoing report, or?
I'll track it periodically. I'll probably pull the next one in another 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, I was thinking, I'm thinking maybe like a quarterly thing, so that we just kind of keep up.
Yeah, wonderful. And that ties into QCOM still.
There'll be
It'll be good data to see.
There'll be other activities other than just athletics then that get let out, so maybe switches to activities. Like I think like math team, I think they leave early
I
sometimes.
think that's the school related, isn't it, too? Or is it?
No, it'd be, we just haven't had any of those groups leaving yet.
Okay, so switch athletics to activities for them.
That's fine.
The school related would just be like class field trips.
That'd be field trips, that would be testing, that would be, I have a counseling appointment with our counselor.
So they're not in a class that they should be, but they're doing
They're
something
in the
at
building,
school.
they are with staff members, but they're not in their assigned class. Correct.
And you said overslept for non-medical, but that would be unexcused.
That'd be
right?
unexcused,
Okay. Just wanted to clarify. In the policy,
Mhm.
have it under
Yes.
unexcused.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? So good. How's the vaping situation? That
Sorry, I missed the question.
Vaping, do we have any vaping
Or,
from last time?
it's always an ongoing thing. Do you have specific questions about it? or-
Is it improving, or are we?
What's the most popular vape, like Blueberry Kush or?
Yeah.
Cotton candy.
I mean, it's one of
So I
those
hear.
things that
What's the strain to
it's
know about?
always, yeah. I mean,
Up
it's
and
always an
comer.
ongoing thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, we continue to catch kids with them. We will probably always catch kids with them. There will always be some who we don't catch. I mean, that's, yeah. I mean, it's really tough. Like, vape detectors don't do much good at all during lunchtime because there's 40 or 50 kids who are going in and out within the time period that it goes off. I can't call down and search 40 or 50 kids.
Have we stepped up teacher presence a little bit at bathrooms?
As much as we can. I mean, lunchtime, they're entitled to their duty-free lunch as well. So,
I think the hard part too is they're gonna find a way, whether it be in school or out.
absolutely.
So the problem's it's not gonna correct itself.
Yeah.
I think it's education. I'm curious what kind of, I'm not saying it needs to be like traumatizing scare tactics, but there's some serious health consequences about with it, and
Yeah, and it comes
there's
up
some
in,
data out there that could be shared. I don't know if
it
that's
comes up
an
in
option.
multiple classes.
Mhm.
You know, I was in a biology classroom and it came up there because they were talking about tissue and healthy tissue versus unhealthy tissue. And the kid asked a question about what's popcorn lung. And so, you know, there was a nice discussion about what it is and what causes it. And I mean, it comes up in multiple classroom settings.
Yeah.
Josh, is that covered in middle school education?
Seventh grade, 8th grade, and 11th grade health all covered.
I think the sooner we start talking about it, the more impactful.
Because I think we're actually required to provide education on that specific topic.
Yeah.
That's the statute.
And nutrition and all the things.
I mean, I just don't want to get to a point where we just accept that that's part of going to school, right? That kid's safe. Like
We at least need to make it challenging for them.
right. Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, on to Education Minnesota.
All right. You sure you want to give me the floor? No.
Do you need a beat?
No. Although. Okay, a lot of really exciting things going on. Hospitality and tourism took a trip to the Marriott in North Minneapolis. They got to tour the hotel and a chance to speak with quite a few of the students who said it was a very valuable experience for them. Some of them are going directly into this line of work, and that's what prompted that they're, enrolling in that class. But others are just interested, and obviously there are tremendous learning opportunities there, even for folks who aren't going into it. There's some pictures of some of the students who participated. In the Foundations of Cooking class, they've been learning about baking their own bread. They also had 2-week pumpkin unit prior to that. Cleaned the pumpkins and harvested the seeds. They cooked and experimented with different spices and made a crust from scratch. I personally like it when they do stuff, because once in a while for whatever reason they feel like I like to eat. But elementary Veterans Day ceremony, we kind of heard Jeff allude to that and the success of that. Discovery Pre-K, a social emotional topic each month, talking about zones of regulation, how red and green choices that students make can affect how they feel, but also how other people feel. Sorted red and green choices into different zones. So social emotional learning taking place at the Discovery Pre-K. At the kindergarten level, they learned about community helpers and safety, especially fire safety. Walked down and took a field trip to the fire station, met firefighters, learned of the importance of an emergency plan, and toured a fire truck. Always a big hit. First grade went to Ferguson's apple orchard on a first grade field trip. A lot of fun there. Second graders been learning about 3 states of matter. Experiments always interesting to students. They made polymer worms, also read the story Pumpkin Jack, and carved their own pumpkin, and then watch as it decomposed during the school year. Third grade, just some interesting, exciting pictures here. Walk the runway in Ms. Lee's room, snack time. And then third graders gathered on Unity Day to stand up against bullying. Fourth grade is science. They were working on magnet and electricity unit. Kids enjoyed working on making magnetic slime, working with electric circuits, doing experiments in math. They're working to memorize multiplication facts, and then working with larger numbers. Play a lot of games and activities to try to help it become more interesting. The specials listed music, working on reading and playing rhythms. And in Mrs. Kolowski's first grade class, they worked on color mixing, using a new art tool called Tempera paint sticks, created giant pumpkins on display. Middle school art, 4th, 6th grade students had their artwork chosen by the La Crescent Lions Club for the Peace Poster Contest. They attended a special dinner and received an award for their hard work. Students of the month were congratulated for kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and 4th grade. Staff of the month, Ms. Sebo, 3rd grade teacher. October staff of the month. The Lancer Way update, Lancer theme citizenship. I am a good citizen when I follow the school and classroom rules. I'm a good citizen when I take care of myself, my friends, and my school. 6th grade, working through a water unit, determining the surface tension of various liquids, collecting data, and graphing the results. 6th grade Minnesota NICE Awards went out to 4 students. And then another 4, sorry, because there were 2 slides. 8th grade art worked on illustrated alphabets. In ceramics class, they did wheel throwing. I know a lot of the high school students were really excited about that. Some of the more experienced students were helping some of the lesser experienced students, and that was kind of fun to listen to them talk about it. Intro to art, they did Zoom paintings. And again, a lot of exciting things going on. I just wanted to say one thing. I did have an opportunity to observe at the elementary school in our peer coaching, and I just want to say that we have amazing people working at the elementary school, and the patience and persistence that I saw in the classrooms down here was outstanding. So I just had to say that I'd be remiss if I didn't, because it really did impact me, particularly since my son just came through the elementary school, and it was an opportunity for me to see something a little bit different from a perspective of what goes on there. It's pretty amazing at the stuff that they're doing. So I just wanted to give kudos to the elementary school teachers and all the wonderful things they're doing in their classroom.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah. Thank you. We are on item number 10, which is our review and informational items. And first we have the budget update.
So this goes through October, which will be the 4th month. 33% is what we want to see bringing in revenue and going out in expenditures. So we can see there at the top that we're at about 30.3% in what we brought in. Everything looks really normal. You see the last line at 146. Interest rates again are extremely good for school districts and their money, so that's why that is a lot higher than what we budgeted, because we don't really know what we're going to bring in interest, so that's why that is a little skewed there. Expenditures, the same thing. We're sitting at 22.7%, and we want to be at 33%. We want to see that lower at this time of the year because our expenses really don't start most of our expenses don't start until September. So we want to see it low, and we are, and those are all really ranging they're all in the same range, so that's good. Where you see some higher numbers is just we're things that we buy fall one-time purchases. So that'll even out as the school year goes on. The second area there is by program, so you can see again that everything is pretty even keel with all the percentages, which is what we want to see. We don't want to see one area higher than the other too much because we want to make sure that since we are a school, everything is being shared proportionately. If you go down a little bit there, looking at the other funds, food service, community ed, and such, revenue expenditures, you can see the construction account, our Fund 6 is really going to skew both of these because all of our money came in at once. So that won't even out until the end of the year. And then as we spend the money throughout this year and the next year, so this year it's going to stay lower because some of that money will be spent into next year. So we see the 12%. That's where we want to be at because we're not spending all the money this year. So if you go down to the bottom, the summary, you're going to see the 52%, of course, is higher than the 33%. But again, that's all funds. So that Fund 6 building is in there. That's skewing that number. So when you see the expenditures in at 19%, that's where we want to be at this time of the year. So it's doing really good there.
And Julie,
Yeah.
just to like clarify, when you say end of year, do you mean end of school year or end of 2020?
Oh, great question. I mean end of fiscal year, so June 30th.
Thank you.
Yes. If I ever want to talk calendar year, I'll probably specify because I live in fiscal year.
Perfect.
Is where I live.
Okay.
So, yeah. But great
Thank
question.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And then if
So
we
July 1 is New Year's for her.
Yes, yes. I live July 1
Well,
to
that's
June
kind
30th.
of a more fun time to celebrate that.
Yes. So if we move into the balance sheet, looking great. Our fund balance is higher and should be higher at this point, just like I explained. Some are, I guess on the last one I didn't say, throughout the state revenues are coming in faster than previous years, which is good. But we just need to be mindful of that because where we're used to seeing that revenue come in later and it's coming in early, we can't think that that revenue is going to come later and we have more money. We are actually getting it in a timely manner. So at the very bottom, you can see where our fund balance is sitting at about 29.10%. Don't think that's where it's going to be the rest of the year because it won't. That's showing us that we have our revenues in there, but we know that our expenses are only at 22%, which normally would be at 33%. So it's going to be high right now, which it should be, and that'll lower as the months go on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we had a really good finance meeting today. I think for our first one, we decided we're going to try to have quarterly finance meetings to start. And different topics. I do have finance meetings at some of my other schools, so I'll look what their yearly topics are, and we'll try to discuss those here too at the present. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments on budget? Okay. Mr. Morgan's favorite, enrollment, which looks like it's up.
Trending in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Student behavior.
What'd you say next month's gonna be?
My numbers next month are going to be a lot higher than that.
Yeah. Well,
Last couple of days they've been pretty ornery.
Well, you get Thanksgiving and you get winter break, and kids get anxious before.
You come through, I'm like, oh, I'm going to put these on the board report next month.
I see we're getting lots of bullying reports in 8th grade.
Yeah, we're making them a lot more available and encouraging the kids more.
Okay.
Yeah, we're actively encouraging kids and working with Lisa and Kate to fill out the forms with them if they need help with it. So that's part of the reason. So they're taking advantage of it. That's good.
Yeah.
It's definitely good stuff.
And
I'm finding that I see you had three in 8th grade and 2 suspensions. Were those a direct result from the submission of the 3 or?
No.
It's just a reminder of that bullying report that is something's happening that I don't like. That doesn't mean that we found that they're actually bullying.
It's so subjective, right?
And I mean, sometimes it's mutual. We don't find that out until we do the investigation. But yeah, they're doing stuff to you, but you're giving it right back.
But every once in a while you get one that somebody looked at me. They kept looking at me during class. Okay.
Yeah. They're snapping their eyes.
Right, I need to get past that one, but yeah. It's,
So
you
getting
get them all over the place, so it's interesting.
Do you have data on what percent of the submitted bullying reports are founded?
No. I mean, I haven't been keeping that, but a lot of times if it is founded, then it turns into a number on there as far as the behavior referral in Infinite Campus.
So like, do you do, because I thought behavior referrals come from staff.
They do, but there's some that I fill out if it's
founded, you would do
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
Yep, through my investigation,
Yep.
if it's something that, if it's a consequence that I determine and give out, then I fill out the
Then it's
behavior referral.
documented.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
got it. Thank you.
And I think that all three of us fill out a fair number of behavior referrals. I mean, I was the #1 submitter for referrals to high school last year.
Yeah.
Because there's things that happen in the hallway, there's things that get reported after the fact, there's things that happen in the bathroom, the vaping, things like that. I'm the one who's filling out the behavior referral because it wasn't in a classroom.
Okay, any other questions, comments on behavior?
Do you have a full moon calendar in your room? You might want to think about
No,
that.
I thought for sure it was full moon and, major parametric pressure change or something this
I
week.
actually think that's next Monday.
Yeah, it's great. Next time.
Combined with Thanksgiving break.
Coming back, they're going to.
Going out on Thanksgiving break with a full moon on the run.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
Okay, world's best workforce. Other than that?
You want me to talk about this?
If you want to.
Sure, I can speak to the world's best workforce. It's a required framework by the state of Minnesota that requires us to keep track on certain goal areas. They're outlined here. This is a work in progress, and you'll see it's pretty consistent year to year, but we are trying to move the needle on literacy by 3rd grade, by readiness for school, or kind of our pre-K programs. Also, our graduation rates are measured, and our, closing the gap, the achievement gap. So different goal areas that we measure and try to improve our systems. So this is a required report for you to view, and then it gets submitted to the state of Minnesota by mid-December. So it's just yes, and it gets posted on the website. And really what this is it forces districts to think strategically, and we really did a lot of that through TeamWorks, but this is just a different version of that's required by the state of Minnesota.
And some of those had next to it achieved, that's this year's information?
It is last year's information. So it's a little bit weird to halfway through this year have a report on what we did last year, but it's just the way their timelines work.
Okay.
Yep.
So then are we like restarting that same goal for this year? Or do we just kind of check it off the list and we don't really look at that anymore?
Some of them are an ongoing, like the literacy. We're always chasing after that ready to read by 3rd grade. And we're always strong with our graduation rates, near 100%. But I think the areas that we want to improve are our instructional systems, which is the MTSS, or multi-tiered systems of support, that we're actively working on at multiple buildings now. And I guess, closing the achievement gap, which would be like students that are in certain categories that are not achieving. What are we doing to help support them? So that's kind of what this is all about.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And so below this, you'll see the QComp goals. We did find out when we were going through the QComp
Nicole and I are going to work on that.
training. Yep.
What
We'll
we were
figure
told
out.
by one person
It's different, yeah. And I didn't want to say that in front of Christy on the phone, but I was sitting in the meeting when they said that when Michael said attendance could work, so.
So we're gonna.
And she did reference in there, talk to Michael Foster, who your person is, so.
Yep.
And if we continue, like we had said just a minute ago, if we can tie it to some sort of one of those other things we're already
Minor
doing,
remediation.
Yeah.
That's what.
Because that's been a lot of work you guys put into that.
Yeah, I'll work on this finger and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So for the world's best workforce, is any of what's measured in that the same or similar to QComp, or is it two completely different things?
There's some similarities. There's differences too, but there are some similarities.
Are those different, like, committees? Like, is there a world's best workforce committee or
Used to
group?
be.
Yeah, used to be. QComp used to have its own as well.
Yeah, but is there,
still does.
QComp has oversight.
so I know
We have-
QComp does, but is there a world's best workforce committee, or who does
There's
that now?
teams of people that work on it
Yeah,
in different areas.
yeah, and what I would say is really what it's about is strategic planning, and that work has been happening all summer long, and that's where I would look to the work that happens to support the World's Best Workforce Report is through the strategic planning with Teamworks guidance.
And so when you're looking at the Read Well by third grade, okay, that really is our MTSS team that works on what that goal is. When you're looking at the Ready for K, that's a lot of our preschool work that's being done. So there's different teams of people that work on different areas, which it used to be that you'd have one team that worked on everything. But if you're a high school English teacher, what are you going to know about being ready to read in kindergarten? You know what I mean? So it's really taking those experts at each of the levels and getting them to.
World's Best Workforce is almost like a collage where it takes results from all the different groups and puts it into one report.
Okay, so, and we're done with QComp, you're figuring that out?
Yep.
Okay. And we are on to G, board member expectations, Darcy?
I just cleaned it up a little bit, added a couple of the things that we talked about at the last meeting, you know, not to just be at the meetings, but be attentive and engaged, undistracted, let Brittany know if you're not coming. Any committees that you're on, provide a report during the board report, just fill those pieces in. So we can link it to the policy, and then I did still keep down below the resources in case anybody wants to find them. And I can remove the resources if you want to, or the policy links.
Any comments, discussion? on this one?
Thank you, Darcy.
Yeah, thanks for your work on that. Alrighty, moving right along. We're on number 11, the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Second thought. Okay, is there any discussion?
We bring up donations. There's quite a few.
We did. They see the policies on there. Did we get any questions answered?
Yep, I just got a text that I shared with April, that the attorney, she just got back to me, but as we were sitting there. But she said that it looks good the way it's written. It looks very good the way it's written.
So we're okay with the pictures.
Yep.
Photos are still directed.
Did we get the parent question answered?
That's correct.
Yep, that
Parent
was correct
contact
too.
information. So there was no edit to what you saw the last time, and it has been.
And I have the documentation that was reviewed, so if there's any question, which is really what I wanted, is our attorney to say, we're good to go on this.
I also did look up Rochester Public Schools. They, you know, they have like full-time people working on these things, and their updates were made in like July, and it aligns with ours.
Great.
So,
Thank you. Thank you for doing that, yeah. I just wanted to, before we adjourn, I just wanted to highlight, there was some feedback community-wise that we don't spend enough time highlighting hires and resignations and those things. So I just want to remind, just for those that may watch this later, that we do discuss hires, resignations, and terminations in our consent agenda to review if you, and it's available online if you need to, or just watch the meeting.
Perfect, thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
And that's probably a good point of reference for anyone watching, is consent agenda is where you would find that.
Correct.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, consent agenda is approved.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.
Love that.